We live in a time where sequels, expansions, remasters, remakes, or re-releases are more common than ever. But despite that, there will always be interesting series that remain silent after their last release. We all got a franchise for which we're secretly waiting for a new trailer to drop, only to feel a sense of disappointment every year. So therefore, I'd like to look at 10 games that I love to see a sequel of. Keep in mind, this list is entirely opinion-based. These only are the games that I personally want to see more of, but I'm not certain if they will be revisited in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we all know there will eventually come a Resident Evil 8 or a sequel to the most recent God of War, without a doubt. But a sequel to The Last Ninja Gaiden or Fatal Frame? That's a lot less likely. Let's not waste any more time and start the list. Number 10. Pokémon Snap. Who would have thought a video game entirely centered around making photos of Pokémon could be this much fun? Well, the strength doesn't necessarily come from making photos, but it comes from all the little puzzle moments. Most Pokémon are hidden, so in order to get a good shot, you've got to experiment in how to lure them out. This you can do by using specific items on specific locations, or to trigger a Pokémon to do something that starts the encounter of another Pokémon. Besides, it's just fun seeing all these nostalgic creatures just casually hanging out in their natural habitat. This game was made for the Nintendo 64 with the Gen 1 Pokémon. We are in the Switch era now, with hundreds of Pokémon added. Besides the graphic update, the possibilities have increased enormously. I want to make a photo of an Entei battling a Lugia, or a group of Evolutions casually running around in an open field. So why not a new Pokémon Snap, where you can share photos with your friends online? I'd be totally into that, Nintendo. Number 9. Blood and Truth. Is it too soon to demand a sequel for this game, since it's just been released this year? The answer is, I don't care! This game is a ton of fun and I want more! Blood and Truth is a VR shooter that makes you walk a mile in the shoes of an action hero inside a cheesy action flick like Fast and the Furious. You don't aim with a crosshair, but you aim from the hip. In order to take cover from enemy attack, you need to duck under crates or behind walls. And I don't just mean in-game. You need to actually duck in real life in order to dodge the bullets. Even as someone who usually isn't fond of shooters, this game creates a kind of immersion that makes it a lot of fun to do. Throughout the game, there are plenty of bombastic action scenes, cheesy lines, and even some VR climbing on high buildings. The only real problems I have is that the plot is very forgettable and the diffuse minigame showed up way too frequent. If we get a sequel for Blood and Truth, or a new game similar to this one, I hope they'll fix those aspects. Number 8. Elite Beat Agents. Elite Beat Agents is an addictively fun rhythm game for the Nintendo DS. Each level consists of a cover of a famous song, with an enjoyably silly story being told in the background in a hilarious anime style. Songs like ABC, Jumping Jack Flash, Canned Heat, and my personal favorite, Let's Dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. The people encounter all kinds of problems like almost losing their job, being stuck on an uncharted island, or a film director putting everything into creating a blockbuster. You play a group of male cheerleaders that encourage the people to solve the problems themselves instead of doing it for them. It is immensely absurd, but also has a warm, feel-good ring to it. The game is really darn hard on higher difficulties, but that makes it immensely satisfying to make no mistakes on a difficult stage or to score an S rank. The only real problem I have is that the songs performed by female singers just suck. I mean, Madonna, Destiny's Child, Avril Lavigne, and Cher? Were there really no other famous Western female singers to choose songs from? It's a matter of taste, I guess. In that regard, I do prefer the two Japanese counterparts. Those soundtracks I've listened to so many times I've lost count long ago. Too bad this game stayed relatively unknown compared to most popular DS titles, but hey, maybe a sequel would put this series in the spotlight it deserves? Number 7. King's Quest. King's Quest is a wonderful, remarkable gaming experience. The first 3 chapters are nothing short of pure brilliance. Its creativity, the lovable characters, the wonderful world it describes, how it tells the story. I haven't experienced many games that were oozing with charm as much as this one, creating a fantastic, immersive experience that probably deserves a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. However, Episode 4 is notably worse than the other three, and with Episode 5, it feels like the creators were running out of ideas and just threw bits of every remaining idea together, hoping it would make a good last episode. A really unsatisfying ending to a powerful starting series. But even with the lesser 2 episodes, this is still an adventure game I'd recommend everyone who is even remotely interested. So give it a try. While the plot has seemingly come to a close, there still are a lot of possibilities for a sequel. Either that or do Space Quest next. I admit I never played the originals of either franchise. If the Space Quest remake would be remotely close to the King's Quest remake, I'd be totally okay.
What is that amazing blade for? Is it for battling vicious werebears? How many ice orcs has it slain? Does it deal justice? Is it road legal? Is it made of fear?
Oh, that? No, that's for gardening. I use it to trim my hedges.
Number 6. A Hat in Time. A 3D collect-a-ton platform game full of personality. The controls are as smooth as can be, worlds are creative and lively, music is fantastic, plenty of fun moments, and the boss battles are awesome. With the exception that it is a very easy game, it does feel like the total package for a 3D platformer. The PC version has proven that there are still plenty of awesome ideas to be explored. But I don't want a DLC, I want an entirely new journey with multiple new worlds where I can actually use the new stuff I'm collecting. However, I heard Gears for Breakfast is done with A Hat in Time for now, and want to focus on different projects. Understandable, but does that mean we will never get a full-on sequel? Only time will tell. Number 5. Tetris Effect. Here's a game I never expected to love. I've played a bit of Tetris in the past. It's a fun game, but not something I would play often and want on a console. So I thought. Tetris Effect takes the gameplay of Tetris but turns it into an incredible VR experience. Each level has a completely different theme. You can be in snowy mountains while the Tetris blocks make jingle sounds that fit the snow theme, or you can be in the city, where the Tetris blocks make piano sounds and there's an energizing jazz track on the background. This makes Tetris Effect a dreamy game where you can easily lose yourself in a trance. Even as someone who didn't care much for Tetris before playing this game, I started to get really into it and I wanted to get high scores after a while. There was a noticeable improvement in my skill every time I played the game. If anything, I've played this game from start to end so much that I've grown tired of the music and visuals. I want new levels, new themes to explore, either through DLC or a sequel, perhaps? Number 4. Virtua Fighter. I have always loved 3D fighting games like Tekken, Dead or Alive, and Soul Calibur, but unlike those games, Virtua Fighter is an awesome fighting franchise that stayed relatively unpopular. Virtua Fighter 5, Final Showdown, looks absolutely amazing for a game of its age. The music is energetic and sound effects have this nice, cartoonish punch to them. Characters have a large amount of moves, since most button combinations do a different attack, but in order to properly use these attacks for combos, or to counter your opponent, practice is needed. It's a good example of easy to learn, hard to master. Besides, Final Showdown has an amazing customization mode where you can make all kinds of crazy adjustments to the characters. I spend way more time in this mode than in the actual single player. But there's the problem with Virtua Fighter 5. The single-player experience is bare-boned and online is as dead as can be. So why not a new game? Or at least a port to PS4 to make online alive again and maybe share your crazy customization creations. I am all on board for that. It is awesome enough Akira became an assistant trophy in Super Smash, so maybe there's still hope for the franchise to make a return. Number 3. Prince of Persia. If you've seen my Prince of Persia reviews, you knew this was coming. Assassin's Creed raked in so much more money than Prince of Persia, Ubisoft saw no reason to continue making them. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Prince of Persia had a good run, and the later entries in the series were notably worse anyway. Better to stop now the image is still positive than to milk the cow dry and overstay your welcome. Still, since all these years passed since the last time we saw anything from the prince, any sign of life from him would be awesome. I'd be open for anything at this point. A 2D game, a late sequel to Two Thrones, a Sand of Time remake, or even a sequel to the 2008 cel-shaded one. As long as they make it a linear, non-open world experience, give it a solid story that progresses at a nice pace, at a hard difficulty for veteran players, and don't add microtransactions, it should be good. Number 2. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. I'm honestly surprised that a franchise with this many entries still manages to deliver top-quality entertainment after all these years. I absolutely love Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice, which both have proven that there still are plenty of possibilities for this franchise. While most chapters roughly use the same formula, it's the well-written mysteries, insane plot twists, fun puzzle moments, good comedy, and likable characters that always keep it interesting. It's hard to imagine that the first game was released in 2001. Time flies by way too fast. But hey, does this mean we'll get a 20-year anniversary sequel? We'll just have to wait for 2021 to see what happens.
Objection!
Before I get to number 1, some quick honorable mentions of games I'd love a sequel of, but I'm not sure we will get. Ninja Gaiden and Fatal Frame. Surprise. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. South Park, sequel to The Fractured But Whole and Stick of Truth. The Evil Within. Mirror's Edge. Owl Boy. Child of Light. Little Big Planet. Shovel Knight. And I don't care if it's unfitting and makes no sense sequel to The Shadow of the Colossus. I want to fight against the bosses that we never got, damn it. With that aside, let's get to number 1. The game I want a sequel for the most is Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Easily one of the best games, if not the best game, to be released for PlayStation VR. Astro Bot is a unique platform experience that makes full use of the VR possibilities. From its butter-smooth controls, creative worlds, awesome boss battles, its cute visuals, catchy music, how to interact with the world, variation in gameplay, and the overall immersion, this was an absolute blast to play. On the first run, I completely missed out on all the optional missions, thinking they were just time trials, but little did I know they were completely new stages and fun high-score missions. The game itself is easy, but these optional stages offered the needed challenge. I'd say this platform experience is near perfect, and I cannot recommend this thing enough if you own a PSVR. To my knowledge, there are no real ideas for a possible sequel or game similar to this. But given the high praise this game received, you'd say a sequel is inevitable, right? Right? So, those were the 10 games I want a sequel for the most. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.